All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday evening. Today is Wednesday, October 23rd. Normally, we do our monthly Q&A on the last Wednesday of the month, but next week I will actually be on a cruise. We will be in Mexico, Belize, and Honduras next week, and I'm not quite sure how the Wi-Fi will be on there. So, I appreciate you guys for being flexible and hopping on today instead of next week. If I'm able to go live next week, I totally will, but I wanted to make sure that I at least got it in, before we left for the cruise, just in case. So thank you guys for being here. Every month, as you guys know, I host these unschooling Q&As just as an opportunity for me to come and connect with you and answer any questions that you might have about the unschooling philosophy. So yeah, feel free to, we're a small group, so you can just unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have. And once I finish answering the questions in the Zoom, if there's still time left, I'll go ahead and take questions on TikTok. So, yeah, so Leah or Amanda, do either of you have any questions about unschooling?
I do, in like a particular sense. So I've been able
Sure.
to incorporate a lot of things with the unschooling method. I do like kind of a little bit of stuff online or whatever, but writing. And as you know, Ryan is neurodivergent. He has ADHD and high functioning autism. So it's a challenge for me to teach him writing. I don't know how to incorporate that with the unschooling. That's been my biggest hurdle.
Yeah. What does he enjoy writing about?
He doesn't like it at all.
Okay. For kids that typically say that they don't like writing at all, a lot of times it's that, right? They haven't figured out what it is that they need writing for. And so just like reading, writing is a tool.
Mhm.
And it's a tool that we use for a purpose. So having a tool without a purpose is kind of, you know, silly. And so part of the trick of unschooling is helping our children encounter opportunities and experiences when they would have to use that tool in order to achieve whatever their particular goals may be. Um, so, I think the more that you can give him like opportunities where he can write, one of the things that we do is actually, that we do every Christmas, we do the cards for the residents
Mhm.
at a nursing home. So every Christmas, for those of you who don't know, every Christmas we do a Christmas cards, cookies, and carols, and we all write Christmas cards for the residents of our local nursing home, and then all the kids write the cards, and then we go and we bake them cookies, and then we take the cookies there and we sing Christmas carols to them. It is one of my favorite field trips that we do. And so things like that where they have a purpose for writing, they're writing, writing something to someone else is really helpful. But then also remembering like writing takes a lot of forms as well. So it could be something like, having him texting with you, or maybe, he wants to learn how to write or practice writing so he can chat with his friends in a video game. But again, if he doesn't have a purpose for the writing yet, it's going to be hard for him to be motivated to practice that skill because he doesn't have the why. And so helping him figure out what his why is that's kind of
The key.
yeah, that's the key.
One of the things I tried to get him to do because he plays a lot of games on Roblox and he's older, so he plays a lot of the older games.
Hmm.
And I am not a gamer. Don't get it. You listen to it, but I told him, I was like, why don't you write it down and explain it to me?
Hmm.
Write it down and tell me about it. And because I'm a visual person,
Hmm.
like if he writes it down, I will probably get it. But when he's talking to me, it's like all over.
Hmm.
That was the one thing I tried. Before we started unschooling, we did a writing class on Outschool.
Hmm.
We practiced different types of writing, informative, persuasive, the different genres of writing. And it's
Yeah.
really hard for me because I'm a good writer, but it's like, okay, I'm a good writer. How do I make my son a good writer? But
You
I
can't.
know that takes time. So, like, do I
Yeah.
just be patient and let it just develop over time or
I mean, again, you have to figure out what he will be motivated or interested in writing about.
Okay.
One of the tools that we use also, I don't know if you've done this before, but have you seen the 3-year journals?
No.
So they have a journal. It's a 3-year journal. I think they even have like 5-year journals for adults. But basically, they ask you like one question every day, and then you answer that same question, and it's like a different question for every day. And it's really cool because then as you finish and you're using the same journal over time, you can look back and see how your answers have changed or how you've grown and shifted. And so that was like a more natural way to have my kids practice their writing because they were really excited to write their answers to these questions because they want to write about themselves. So that was a really good way to help encourage their writing.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing that we've done as well, and again, these are just ideas, like I don't know what will work for Ryan or what he will enjoy or what will resonate with him. But we did the 3-year journal. We would also do what's called a two-way journal. And for those of you who aren't familiar with a two-way journal, basically it's kind of like a mommy and me journal. Um,
He did that, but he wasn't
okay.
consistent.
Huh? Oh, he
I'd
wasn't
write in
consistent.
it and I'd, like, tuck it under his pillow, but then he just lost
Aw.
interest, so
Yeah, so if that wasn't something that was interesting for him, sometimes having like a pen pal, there's a really great website. It's called ePals, and if
I
you go
saw
on,
that.
oh, you
So
tried ePals too?
well, no, when they were talking about writing in the teen group, remember? In
Yeah,
e-pals. I haven't looked into it yet, but I thought that might be a good avenue to try.
yeah. So, and that's another way that again they're writing with a purpose. They have a reason and a person who's going to actually read what they're writing. And actually, it was one of the things that I always thought was really silly about um, you know, the school process is that when we're in school, we make these kids we force them to write about things that they're not interested in, that they don't care about. And in the end, no one's ever going to read them. And a lot of times the teachers don't even read them. I don't know if people tell you this, but teachers, like, we throw away a lot of the work that they do. And so there were many times that students would write things and I would never even get a chance to read them just because there's not time to grade everything.
Right.
And yeah, so again, trying to figure out like what is it that you want to write about? What are the purposes that you have for writing? And if he's not motivated to practice that skill yet, eventually he will come across a reason why he'll have to write something, whether it be, that he's in college and he's needing to learn how to write an essay,
Mhm.
or he's, working in a business and he needs to learn how to write a proposal. So the writing is going to show up in his life. It's just the kind of writing that he needs might be different. There's
Right.
some people who have to write proposals and there's some people who don't. There are some people who have to write a 5-paragraph essay, and there are many people who will never write a 5-paragraph essay ever, and they're fine. So again,
That
like as
I
it
used to
shows
have to
up in his
write,
life,
like,
he'll learn it.
three-page essays.
Yep. Yeah. So all those kinds of skills, they show up totally, whenever they show up in his life, then he'll have a reason to learn it and he'll be motivated to learn and to practice that skill.
Okay, so more patience and just trying to figure it out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the three-year journal, I will have to look into that.
Yeah, they have them available on Amazon. And actually, so the 3-year journal that's available on Amazon, um, we got it and we use it, but a lot of the questions in there were about school. And so I created my own 3-year journal. I'm hoping I'll be able to get it published by the end of the year, so that way people can have it to kind of start off the new year.
Mhm.
But it's on my to-do list of things that I wanna accomplish before the year ends. So be on the lookout for that. It will be I'm calling it a life learning journal for
Mhm.
us unschoolers, since we're going to be asking questions that aren't related to school.
Right.
All right, and I see NH has joined us. Hello, NH. Not sure who you are, but I'm glad you're here. And Leah as well. Leah, did you have a question about unschooling that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it's all like field trips or are you geared towards like the schooling aspect of it as well?
What do you mean the schooling aspect of it?
Um, like classes or if they need extra support and things, that type of um assistance like with basic like reading or speech, those types of things.
Okay, so are you talking about Peaceful World Schoolers or PAX Academy?
Either one, because I'm confused about the difference.
Got it. Okay. Which state are you located in?
Maryland.
Perfect. All right. So that's good. Nice to meet another Marylander. So Peaceful World Schoolers is our homeschool umbrella. It is for families that live in Maryland. We are what's called an unschool friendly umbrella. So that means that we give you the freedom to educate your children in whatever way that you believe is best. We do not require you to keep any kind of portfolio unless that kind of thing makes you really happy. Then by all means, go for it. Um, and the majority of our families are unschoolers. Are you familiar with the philosophy of unschooling, Leah?
Kind of like a um what's the school? Like Monterey type setting, like out and about, like, you know, wild, so they don't have to learn necessarily behind a desk. They can learn by doing things.
Yeah, yeah. So very similar to Montessori. So Montessori is another, child-led learning philosophy. But yeah, so the majority of our families are unschoolers, and you are welcome to educate your children in whatever way that you believe is best. If you're not a fan of unschooling, that's totally fine. I host these monthly meetings because when I first started unschooling 5 years ago, I didn't know anyone else who was living this lifestyle. And I wish that I would have had someone who I could talk to and ask my questions and get reassurance from. Because for most of us, the unschooling philosophy is totally new. So when we think about an unschooling philosophy, we are in most cases they're not typically not using like a curriculum. They're not really taking classes. Instead, children are learning based on their unique passions and interests and using whatever resources are most meaningful and valuable for them. Typically, sometimes when they get to like high school age, then at that point they might say, you know what, hey, I want to go to college, so I'm going to take an algebra class or something like that. But typically, they're living their life and they're learning what they need as it shows up in their real life, and so we're not really doing, formal or forced learning in that sense.
So I guess my question is, how do you get through school? I'm in Baltimore County. How does the county or city allow you to be unschooled if you don't have actual classes?
Yeah. So the interesting thing to note is that in all of the states so you've got all the 50 states, not all the 50 states have required subjects. Maryland is one of the states that does have required subjects, but that is what
Right.
they have.
That's why I'm confused with your statement.
Yeah, yeah. So Maryland has required subjects, but not a required curriculum. And there's a really important distinction between the two. So, my children are learning all of the 8 subjects that they're required to learn. It's just the way that they're learning it that is really different. So, for example, rather than following a history curriculum and sitting at a table doing bookwork and worksheets and things like that to learn history, they're going to the Seneca Schoolhouse where they're living an immersive experience about what it would be like to go to school in the 1800s, and they're experiencing that in the real world. Same with science, right? Like we could sit at home and read a book about science and follow a textbook and do things like that. But instead, we're actually just doing science experiments. My son loves science experiments, and that's one of his favorite things. He'll come and say, hey, mom, can we do a science experiment today? And I'll say, sure. Which science experiment do you want to do? And he'll find one that he wants to do, and then we'll do it. So it's not that they're not learning the subjects, is that they're the ones that are choosing when and how and why they're learning those subjects. So we're still fully complying with the law. It just doesn't look like school.
I
Gotcha.
wasn't aware of that, the subject requirement.
Yeah, yeah. So Maryland requires 8 different subjects: English, math, science, social studies, health, physical education, art, music. I'm sorry, and technology as well.
Oh, well, I actually got all those covered.
Yep. Yeah, and so that's the thing, right? Is like when we look at all of those subjects, if you are like existing in the world, you're going to encounter those subjects in your life, right? Like my kids are still younger, so for us, physical education looks like, my kids do jujitsu every day, and they love that. So for us, we count that as their physical education credit. When they're at jujitsu, a lot of times their coaches are also talking to them about their body parts, and they're learning about anatomy and the bones and the muscles and things like that. So they're also learning about science and biology. They're learning how to count in another language. Their coach makes them count in, I think it's Korean or something like that. I don't even know what language it is. So they're learning, how to count in these other languages and things like that. So again, they're learning all of the subjects. It's just the way that they're learning it that's different than in a traditional school, where a traditional school approach says, I'm going to tell you what I think you need to learn, and this is how I think you should learn it. Whereas with an unschooling philosophy, it says, like, there are millions of things in the world that you could learn. What is it that interests you the most? And I want to help give you all the resources and support that you need to pursue the things that you really love.
So it's child led. I get that, but my thing is, I know in Maryland they do like the testing, the MSDE. Do they require that of homeschoolers or unschoolers, or
Nope.
and or when do they actually do testing? At what point? Because in order to get the high school diploma, you do have to show progress of things.
Yeah, so when you're a homeschooler, they don't require testing here in Maryland. There are some states that do require testing, but Maryland does not. So if you want to do testing, you can. There are multiple like standardized tests. There are national tests that you can do from the comfort of your home if you want. You can totally do those. Typically, when it comes to testing, a lot of homeschoolers and unschoolers will do the testing once they get to high school because they want to show an SAT score for their college application, or maybe they want to take an AP test and test out of some sort of material or whatever. So they would usually do that when they're in high school. But prior to that, it's not really necessary.
So for PAX Academy, how does that work as far as like records or like how does that work different from Peaceful World Schoolers?
Yeah. So Peaceful World Schoolers is the homeschool umbrella. And
Mhm.
so, as homeschoolers, you as the parent are responsible to issue the transcripts and the diplomas. And it literally means just that. If you were to be in Peaceful World Schoolers, you could literally like go on your computer and type up a transcript. You could go on your computer and print out a diploma, and your kids could take that and use that to go to college if they wanted to. Most colleges accept homeschool diploma, or a mom diploma, as they like to call it, without any issues. That's where the testing also comes in to help. So in addition to your mom diploma or your mom transcript, they would also have other testing that they could show that they are ready for college. A lot of unschoolers or homeschoolers will also do dual enrollment that also shows that they're ready for college level work and college level environment. With PAX Academy, because it's a private school, we are the ones who are issuing the transcript and a diploma. So rather than getting the mom diploma, they would be getting a transcript and a diploma from an accredited private school.
So how do we give like a transcript per se for PAX Academy to get that recognition or certificate and diploma?
Yeah, so twice a year you would report to us the courses or the tests that your kids have done, or whatever it is that you would like to see reflected on their transcript. You would report that to us, and then we compile their transcript and prepare that for them.
Okay, so like I'm teaching him how to play the flute
So
and
you could put flute, like you could put flute as one of his courses that you want to have the flute be reflected on his transcript. And then
Mhm,
you would assign him a grade based on his level of mastery. And then
mhm.
you would submit that to us, and it would say flute on his transcript.
Okay. And then it would be, does it have to be like the whole like Maryland, the 8 subjects?
No, so high school's a little bit different. With high school, you get 7 credits per year, and Maryland requires 22 credits for graduation. So it's 4 credits of English, 4 credits of math, 3 credits of science, 3 of social studies. They recommend 2 of a language, but that's kind of optional depending on what your career path is going to be. And
We're
then,
learning ASL.
huh?
We're learning ASL.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so that would count. And then also they would look for like a technology, a physical education, a music, an art, and I'm forgetting something. Oh, and health. That's the other one that they look for. So those are like the 5 electives that they would need. But that's typically what they would look for a typical high school transcript. They're looking to see the 22. Now, if you're planning to go to college, then you're going to want to have classes or courses that are going to be similar to what they would be doing. So, like, for example, if you're going to plan to go to college, or you want to pursue a career that will require you to go to college, like if you want to be a doctor, then at that point you say, okay, I know I want to be a doctor. What do I have to do to prepare myself to get there? Right. So that would look like, okay, I probably need to learn algebra because if my college is going to require an SAT, then I have to study and learn algebra. And then at that point, you would figure out, okay, how do I want to learn algebra? Do I want to take a free online class through Khan Academy? Do I want to hire a private tutor? Do I want to hang out at the library and do like the practice math tests? Do I want to do a dual enrollment class and learn math that way? Like there's so many different ways that you can learn the subjects that you need. And that's part of why we choose unschooling, because we want, like, I want my children to learn how to learn. I want them to know that they are capable of teaching themselves anything that they could possibly want to learn. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, so then at that point they would decide how they want to learn it, and then they would.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Leah, does that make sense?
Yeah, I just was, I guess, confused about the packs and then the other program. So one is more can you
Yeah,
state that
yeah.
again? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So Peaceful World Schoolers is the homeschool umbrella that is only for Maryland families. That costs $100 per family per year. You pay the fee and everyone kind of leaves you alone, including me. Our only requirement with the umbrella is what the state requires, and that is that we do an annual review once a year. So if you're in the umbrella, you will have to do an annual review. You as the parent you'll have to fill out the notice of intent to homeschool. Your child will be considered a homeschool student enrolled in our umbrella. And then you wouldn't have to worry about a portfolio like you would if you were to be supervised by the county. But you, as the parent, would be responsible to create their transcripts and issue the diplomas and things like that at the end. If you were to enroll in Pax Academy is an accredited private school for unschoolers. So, as an accredited private school, we would be the ones who would issue the transcripts and the diplomas. And because it's a private school, you have access to hundreds of different resources that you can use to be able to support your child in their education. So, we have like a bunch of different resources, including a course that I designed that teaches you as the parent how to unschool your kids from kindergarten through 12th grade. And that I also just taught a masterclass, is 3-hour masterclass on how you can hack your high school education that will literally save you tens of thousands of dollars on college through different like tips and tricks that I have and that I teach your teenager how to do. So yeah, so that's PAX Academy. That does cost a little bit more. It's $350 per year, but I tell people it costs more upfront. But you should actually be saving money by being enrolled in PAX Academy because of all the additional discounts and benefits that you get from being enrolled in PAX Academy.
So you get links to like online classes? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of free stuff that's already out there that you're welcome to use. So, like, if you're really like tied to a curriculum and you really want to have a curriculum forever, that's fine. Khan Academy has free online curriculum. You can use them, but there are tons of other resources that you can use as well. That that can help and support your child in the learning. We also offer college and career consulting, which is going to be really helpful, especially if you have a teenager. So we talk them through the whole process of preparing for college, transitioning to college, transitioning to a career or maybe trade school, and make sure that they're fully prepared to kind of take that next step in their journey. I hope that answered your question. All right, and I see Beth popped on here too. Did that answer your question, Leah?
Yes, I was just my little one's in pre-K, so technically she doesn't classify needing any umbrella because it's not mandatory in Maryland.
Yeah.
So I've been doing different things with her, but I'm just trying to figure out for next year what to do.
Okay.
So the I guess I guess I see like online different like meetups and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to be in the academy to do those, or how does that work?
Nope, our field trips are open to all. So if you guys want to come and participate in any of our field trips, you guys are more than welcome to come and hang out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on. This is our first year now that we have like all the counties. Last year I was the only person who was planning for all the field trips, and it was a lot. But this year I'm really thankful. We have like an amazing team of moms that are planning field trips in like almost every county in Maryland. And so it's been awesome to see, like, there's so many things happening. I mean, you literally could have something to do every single day of the week if you wanted to, where you could get out of the house and hang out with other homeschoolers and unschoolers. So it's a great opportunity to connect. Feel free to come to any activities that interest you. You're not like limited to your county. So if you see something really awesome in Montgomery County where I live, feel free to come and hop on over to Montgomery County. I'd be happy to have you guys join us. And then if you have a teenager, Amanda is actually our county coordinator for the teens. So she'll be a great person to get connected with as your daughter gets older.
Yeah. We are doing an immersive experience on Saturday in Fredericksburg. It's Dracula versus Frankenstein. We get to dress up, and it's kind of like an escape room that we go through downtown finding clues together. And
And solving the puzzles
it's gonna
and
be so much fun.
yeah, it seems like it'll be a lot of fun. I wish my kids were older and they could participate in some of the teen activities that you have, Amanda. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish my kids were old enough that we could like do some of those things. But you definitely give us a lot to look forward to for sure.
Next week is Luray Caverns. I can't wait for that one.
Yes, that would be an awesome one too. And then I see Beth came in and popped in a little bit late. Hey Beth, how are you?
Hey. Hi. Sorry, I'm also trying to help my kid.
Stop.
It's okay. It's okay.
Stop.
No worries, it's part of being a mom.
He's just having a little trouble with. There you go. Put it on. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to pop on and see what other people were saying and talking about.
Oh, cool.
I think the only real question I would have is when when do you have to sign up for the conference or the the
annual review?
homeschooling? Yes.
Are you in Peaceful World Schoolers or Pax Academy?
The World Schoolers?
Got it. Okay. So we do our annual review, the group Zoom. We do that on the first Wednesday in April. You can sign up for it now just so it's on your calendar and you won't miss it. So it will be every year on the first Wednesday in April at 8 p.m. And so that's the group Zoom. The second option that you could do is you could also do what's called a peer review. So that would be in an ideal world, you would have a friend that's like in our umbrella that you're doing life with, that sees you on the day to day and that can verify that your kids are happy and healthy, no one's being abused, and they're learning cool stuff. And so you could do a peer review with someone that you know and someone that knows you, and then you'd fill out a form letting me know who you did the review for and who reviewed you. And then if you can't do one of those two options, then you can always book a one-on-one review with me. I am trying to see if we can have that be as like a last resort, because there's a lot of you and only one of me, and I am also a single homeschooling mom. And so my kids would love to be able to see me, and if I'm doing one-on-one calls with everyone, I will not see them until June. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I
try to do either
yeah.
the group Zoom or the peer review.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it. I just wanted to hear what other people were talking about.
Oh,
So
okay, cool. Yeah, you caught us on kind of like a weird week. We normally do these on the last Wednesday of the month, and we normally have like anywhere from like 20 to 50 people in here
okay, so this is very different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, really different this week, just because I know it's like an off week, and I forgot to send out like a reminder email to everyone. I sent out like a reminder, I think, to the Umbrella and the Maryland people, but I forgot to send out to everybody. So yeah, so that it's a little bit quieter tonight, which is totally fine. It's nice to have a small group, and then I'm able to talk individually with you guys, and yeah. Are you how long have you been homeschooling?
So this is my first year.
Oh, awesome.
And I mean, I'm enjoying it so much. I have a little bit of different, I don't know if it's a different situation. I don't know how many people have this situation. My son is special needs.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably hear him talking kind of strange, but
How old is he?
he's 9.
Okay. So
And
still elementary school.
yeah. So he's only on like a second grade level, and I feel like I'm just trying to even get him used to, like, we've been on some of the field trips already, but just like getting him, he doesn't like to be around other kids, so trying to get him used to being around other kids I mean, I don't know what happened in school that it
Mm.
never, resolved itself. It's never people are, whatever happened in school did not make him more friendly towards other children.
Mm.
So just trying to like get him to interact with other children and just these smaller things, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of meet him where he is. I know you're just so good. I'm so proud of you.
Well, it's the
Uh,
best thing that you can do, and I'm glad that you guys are making the effort to come out to the field trips and get connected with other people. It makes a world of a difference when you can start building community and having friends that you're, kind of sharing and doing life with, and especially when he's able to kind of start making some friends as well. I hope that that will make the experience really
Yeah,
pleasurable for both of you.
I'm kind of hoping the less pressure will
Mm.
help a lot because yeah. But so
Yeah.
far we're talking he's a lot happier and I'm happier, so
Well, that's all that
I'm
matters.
thankful for the opportunity. Very
Oh, good.
thankful.
Well, I'm glad that you guys made the choice to do something a little bit different and to create the kind of life that you guys love together. And I tell parents that that is the best litmus test is like, if you are happy and your kids are happy, awesome, keep going. And if either one of you find that you're not happy with the situation, the beautiful thing is you can always make a change at any point in time, and you're not like
Right,
stuck in one way of doing things.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. All
Beth,
right.
I will tell you, I have a special needs child too, Ryan, and
Mm.
he's kind of standoffish at first, and over time he has started interacting more because we started this last year. And as we go, I just let him go to them. I don't force it, and he has started making friendships on his own, unforced. So, um, I just back off and let him navigate that, and he's come out of his shell so much.
Mm,
So it's just time and patience,
Uh,
and it'll happen.
Even with adults, like I mean, he comes up to me and says hi to me and always like greets me, and he's such a cool dude. Um, but it's been really amazing to see him kind of like breaking out of his shell a little bit and falling into his own and really just being comfortable with who he is and figuring out what he's comfortable with. So yeah, I'm really glad that you guys are a part of our group, Amanda.
that's so good to hear too, because that's what I've been trying not to force him into friendships or force him into socialization, which is what I think they were doing a lot at school.
Mhm.
So just like, yeah, that's so good to hear.
Yeah, it just takes time. Like when we had the back to school party, he was just kind of walking around, and then the kids started playing, and then he started watching, and then he started gravitating toward interest because they were all playing different games. So he picked something that he was interested in and by himself went to the kids and started playing. I sat with some moms and I just let him do his thing. And he went and started playing just like that. It was more toward the end, but he navigated it himself. And he's high functioning autistic. You wouldn't necessarily know it unless you know him. Um, but it's just being patient and just letting them navigate and figuring out what they're interested in, like Angela was saying, like as far as all things, what they're interested in.
Yeah.
And that was the key. And I kept trying to like force it, like, oh, come over here, or oh, there's kids over here. And that didn't work. But once I started letting him choose who he wanted to go to, made all the difference in the world. And, like, he knows Angela, he feels comfortable once he gets to know you, like, if he came up to you, Beth, and started talking to you and getting to know you, he would talk your ear off. But if he didn't know you, he'd be completely silent. Um, so it's just
Yeah, my son is autistic, so yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So I hope that helps.
it does. It's very good to hear. It's very encouraging. So thanks for sharing that.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions? If not, I could take a look and see what we got going on TikTok. Second. All right. Hello to everybody here who's watching on TikTok. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Angela. I used to be a public school teacher. I taught in the public school system for over a decade. I left school in order to unschool my own kids and to help other families do the same. And I host these Q&As once a month to be able to answer people's questions about the unschooling philosophy, because I know that for most of us, the term unschooling is new, but the practice of it really isn't, because unschooling is just living and learning as you go throughout your life. It's the way that we taught our children before they went to school, and it's the way that we as adults learn after we've left school. So it's something that we've all been doing. We just didn't have a word for it. And oh, hey, Griselda, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, this is it's kind of like an off week, because I know you guys are used to seeing me on the last Wednesday of the month. So it's good to see you guys over here as well in the middle. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about unschooling, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. And ladies, did you guys have any other questions as well, or nothing on your mind?
I think I'm good. I got my questions answered for today.
Okay. All right, good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. All right. Someone asked, do you guys have classes in person, or is it only at the house? So we actually don't offer classes. We practice a type of homeschooling that's known as unschooling. And in the case of most unschoolers are not using a curriculum, or they're not taking classes unless the child is the one that's choosing it. So yeah, you're welcome to sign up for classes. There are tons of free online classes available. Khan Academy is one. You can also, especially if they're older, you can Google like a free class on virtually any topic you could possibly imagine. And there are free classes available. In fact, Harvard, most universities like Harvard, Cornell, University of Maryland, they offer free online classes, and you can take them and earn both college credit and high school credit at the same time, which is pretty cool. But in general, most unschoolers are not learning through classes. They're learning as they pursue their passions and experience the real world. So it's definitely different than a traditional school environment for sure. Yeah. Any other questions? So I have been unschooling my children. My oldest is 10 and my son is 6. We started unschooling when my daughter was 5 years old. This was right before the pandemic. So it was in 2019 when we first started. And I honestly started it as an experiment. I kept hearing all of these grown unschoolers talk about how their children learned how to read as naturally as they learned to walk and talk. And I was skeptical. I did not believe that it was possible for children to learn without being forced. Um, and so, yeah, so that was what inspired me to start unschooling. I was really curious to know if it was possible, or if my child could learn how to read without me explicitly teaching her. And by the end of that year, I committed that I was going to try unschooling for a year. And by the end of the year, my mind was completely blown. I was shocked. Not only could my daughter read, like she taught herself how to read, she was reading 3 grade levels above what she would be supposed to have been reading, if that mattered. And yeah, it was pretty amazing for me. And ever since then, we've been unschooling ever since. And 5 years later, here we are. And I cannot imagine living our life any other way. I love being able to spend every moment of our day pursuing the things that we love and doing it with the people that we love the most. And I tell everyone, I'm like, unschooling is the best kept secret of education. Griselda said, we let our kids work on their interests and they choose what they want to learn and how they want to learn it. Yep, that is a great way to explain it. And Griselda is actually a mom of 8 kids. And so she is unschooling with 8 kids at home. And it's been really awesome to see her and her experience and how her family has been learning and growing with complete freedom. It's a really beautiful thing to see. And most people don't even know that they could live this way. And so that's why I come on here and I talk with you guys about it, because I think the more we can share with people alternatives, then the more possibilities are open and available to us to really understand, like, we have the power to create life the way that we want to. And we only have one life to live with our kids. And so the more that we can really be intentional in the way that we spend our time and in the way that we spend and invest our love and our energy and our affection, it makes all the difference in the world. So yeah, thank you for commenting that. Let me see. Leah said, what did you use to help her learn how to read? Was it a set curriculum or program? So no, when we started unschooling, I very intentionally said, I am not going to teach my daughter how to read. I was actually a reading teacher prior to doing this. And so I had committed to myself that I was not going to do anything that I would normally do as a reading teacher, because I wanted to observe. I wanted to see, what is her natural learning process? What does that look like? And I had heard from hundreds of unschoolers that their kids learned how to read completely naturally without ever being taught. And I just didn't believe it. I was like, I have to see this for myself if that's possible. So I very intentionally was like, I am not going to teach this kid how to read, because I want to see if she really can learn how to do it by herself. And I was shocked that she did. There were some things that we obviously did, like books were a natural part of our life. Like, we would read books before going to bed, but it wasn't like every night, I mean, there were a lot of nights that we didn't read a book before going to bed. Sometimes we would read books like during the day. We would try to like go to the library a couple times a month. Um, but she never did a workbook, never did a worksheet, never had a phonics lesson, never had any explicit instruction in reading or writing at all. And yeah, it's been amazing. I think one of the things that really motivated her to learn how to read, that was really helpful for her, was like, she really loved to sing. And so she loved karaoke. And with karaoke, like, we literally just would look up like Disney karaoke on YouTube, and we would watch like the Disney karaoke things. And the cool thing about karaoke is, like, one, it's, the music is integrated into what they're doing. So she knows how to sing the songs. But with the karaoke, it's like the words are on the screen. So she would have to pay attention to the song and the beats and the rhythm. So she was learning music. But then she would also have to learn how to read, because she wanted to sing the lyrics of the song and she wanted to sing it correctly. And so I think karaoke was really helpful for her in like learning how to read. Another thing, like, when we would be driving in the car, we would play a lot of games. Like, we would do, when we would be driving, we would, do like an I Spy with the alphabet. Like, we would try to find, okay, I'm looking for the letter A, and then, try to find the letters, and we go in the alphabet order like that. Or we would play games like, I'm going on a trip and I'm bringing an apple. And then she would say, I'm going on a trip and I'm bringing an apple and a banana. And we would, like, I don't know, just play games that involved letters and sounds. And, or we would listen to audiobooks while we were driving. So, like, books and reading and like all of that, I always have subtitles on the TV. That was another thing. Like, we never watched the TV without subtitles, and subtitles immediately turn any movie into a book, basically. Like, you've got the words on the screen and you're following along. It's like an audiobook, but with the words there. And so yeah, we would use subtitles. And I don't know, I honestly don't know how she actually learned. I think it just, she was exposed to it, and really, like, she literally just picked it up as naturally as she learned how to walk. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, thanks for asking. And if you guys are here too, let me know if you have an unschooler. I'd love to know how they learned how to read. I actually hosted a podcast. I host a podcast called the Peaceful World Schooling Podcast. And on there, I interview parents of unschoolers. And I've also interviewed a couple unschoolers on my podcast as well. Actually, right before this call, I was meeting with another grown unschooler and talking about his experience at growing up as an unschooler from birth. And that's one of the questions that I love to ask grown unschoolers. I love to ask them, like, how did you learn how to read? How did you do this without ever being explicitly taught? And it's pretty amazing. What about kids with speech delays? So my kids actually, so my son has a lisp, and my daughter has vocal nodules, so not speech delays, but they had speech problems. Um, and so both of them had speech therapy at different points throughout their life, but to be honest, I didn't find that it was super helpful. So they don't do that anymore, but they got speech therapy through their insurance. If your child is having a speech delay and you think that they would benefit from having speech therapy, you can absolutely talk with your insurance about that and see what you would need to do in order to be able to set them up with a provider. In a lot of cases, the provider can actually come to your home and do speech therapy with them at home. I have seen a lot of people that have children with speech delays where they've been able to make huge improvements in their speech through radically changing their diet. I don't know if that's something that you've looked into, and I know for a lot of kids that can be extremely challenging. But I have seen a lot of kids like recover very rapidly from having issues with like speech delay and things like that through radically changing their diet and eliminating toxins, whether it be like mold toxins or other forms. There's toxins everywhere, but trying to eliminate a lot of those toxins. Oh, we're vegan and she has been since birth. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I think trying those kinds of things can be helpful. But if you are interested in getting services for her, she can absolutely look into that and getting speech services through her insurance. They should be able to help. So Griselda Covington said Benjamin learned how to write his name, and now I see his name everywhere, even in the door in my room. That is so funny. Oh, Mariana's on here. Hey, Mariana. So, Mariana, I have a funny story for you. Mariana sent me a video yesterday, actually, of a YouTuber who made a video like basically hating me. Which is fine. It's not the first time that someone's made a video talking about how much they hate me. But this video caught my attention for a couple of reasons. I'm actually thinking about making a response video to hers because she took a lot of the videos and a lot of the stuff that I said out of context. And I just want to be like, all the things you said, I literally could say the exact same thing about school. But one of the things I think was really interesting from that video was I started like looking through the comments and I was really surprised to see a lot of people in the comments that said that they were unschoolers and that they were not happy with their experience. And that was very surprising to me. I have spoken to many other people who have been in the unschooling community for literally decades. Um, and and I've asked them like about these kinds of questions of like, well, have you ever had that, or like, are your kids upset about this, or like what? And they literally said that like they're actually the lady who I spoke to right before coming on here, she said that she literally knows thousands of grown unschoolers. And she said that she's only had two that said that they were not happy with their experience. And it was not because of unschooling. She said that they were like neglected and were dealing with abuse in other ways. Obviously, I could understand why they would not enjoy that kind of environment. But she said like it was really shocking to her to see that there were so many comments from people saying that like they weren't happy with unschooling. It's like, I don't know. I thought it was just really interesting of like you're mad that your parents gave you the freedom to pursue the things that you love, and the alternative would be like that you wish that they would have forced you to do things against your will and threaten you and punish you for not doing it. Like that doesn't make much sense to me either. I don't know. But yeah, it was definitely very interesting. So thank you for sharing that video with me. I really I think it was good for me to watch it and kind of see how people were perceiving what I'm saying and where they're like not understanding what I'm trying to communicate. But yeah, So thank you for sharing that. And be on the lookout because I think I'm gonna try to make like a response video to her. I don't know when I will have time to do that, but I will try. Beth said, this isn't reading, but my son loves laundry. We go to laundromats a lot. And he's been learning math and money all on his own, paying for the washers, etc., and watching the timer on the machines. I think it's super. I think following that things that the kids like is super helpful. Yeah, yeah. And it's something that like we all know intuitively, right? Like all human beings, we all learn really well when we're learning things that are relevant and interesting. Like and anybody, if you tried or if I tried to force you to learn something that you were not interested in and that you didn't find relevant in your actual life, it would be miserable. It would be miserable for you as a learner. It would be miserable for me as a teacher. And yet that's what we do with kids every single day in the school system. And so like it doesn't makes sense to me that we know like there are countless scientific studies done on this that kids learn best when they're learning something that's relevant and interesting and kids learn best through play um and yet in school we literally do the opposite. I'm like, how backwards can our system be? But una poca loca said, like they say they don't want friends. What do you mean? Oh, so I homeschool my kids and my kids aren't social at all. Like they are around people and they say they don't want friends. So this whole idea of socialization is a really interesting topic, right? Um, Socialization happens in a lot of ways. Socialization is simply interacting with another human being, and we interact with other human beings all the time. Um, Now, that being said, just because your kids don't enjoy being around crowds of people and they don't enjoy having a whole bunch of friends, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. I think that I kind of resonate with that. I've never been the kind of person to like this might be shocking for you, but I'm actually very introverted. And so I really I enjoy being at home. I enjoy being by myself. I enjoy being with like my small group of friends. Um, and that's fine. Like I'm happy with my life that way. And there are some kids who need, like they need to have a lot of, hold on one second. They're making me fill out this thing. Oh, come on. Sorry, they're making me do this puzzle on TikTok to make sure that I'm still alive. Like I think that there are some kids that thrive, they're more extroverted and they thrive with being with a lot of people and in large groups and loud environments and things like that. And there are other people who don't. And it has less to do with the way that they're schooled and really more to do with their personality. Like I know kids who go to school and they literally don't socialize with anyone. They sit alone at lunch. They sit in the back of the classroom. They don't talk to anybody. Nobody talks to them. And that's how they live their life for 13 years. It's to me, that's sad. There are some people who are sad with that level of social interaction or lack thereof. But then there are other people who are very happy to be left alone and to not have be talking to people all day, every day. And so, yeah, I think it just really depends on your kid. And if they're happy with the level of socialization or the manner of socialization that they're getting, awesome. Then I think that's great. Sorry, let me see. She said, I'm trying to dig deep before, Mariana said, you're welcome. I'm trying to dig deep before I go full-time homeschooling. Yeah, and it's good. It's always good to hear arguments from both sides, right? Like, I think it would be really foolish for anyone to just dive deep into any kind of philosophy without really thinking through the implications of that philosophy and understanding like the pros and the cons of the decisions that you're making. But ultimately, with an unschooling philosophy, like it's not just you that's making this decision. Like my kids are always free to choose what they want to do. So like if my kids want to go to school, as much as that would like pain me, and I'd be like, I would not like that for them. I would not want that for them. But if they really wanted that, like I would support them in that. It's their life. Um, and but they don't. Like I ask my kids every year, like, what do you guys want to do? And they love the life that we have. They love that we're able to travel. They love that they're able to, sleep in and wake up when their body feels fully rested. They love that we're able to run our errands together during the day. They love that they're able to hang out with their friends like anytime they want. Like they love the freedom and the joy that we've created together as a family. And it's really hard, like once you've experienced the level of joy and freedom and peace from not being in a toxic schooling environment, like people don't want to go back to that, you know? I've had a lot of people say that like they started homeschooling and their kids like weren't really excited about it at the beginning, and literally by the end of the year, like the kids are like, I'm never going back to school. Like it's just, I don't know. It can be scary making that change or doing a transition like that. It's hard. Change is hard for anybody, you know, and for kids too. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking or it can feel scary or overwhelming for them, and that's normal. But once they've experienced, again, once they've experienced the joy and the freedom that there is from living without school and learning without school, like who would want to go back to being told to sit down and shut up and do what you're told and to spend 7 hours of your day being told what you have to do and how you have to do it all day long? Like no one would choose that when they know that there are other better alternatives. Sorry, I like miss all the things. I like to see both opinions on things and to form my own opinion. Yeah, I think that's really wise. Hi, Adrina. Thanks for being here. Good to see you on my live. Hello, hello. Oh gosh, I just missed all the comments here. Sorry if you missed a comment. They just all like deleted on me here. They like all scrolled up. So feel free to drop your questions again. Actually, I just saw it is 9 o'clock. All right, so it is 9 o'clock. I just saw the time. So thank you guys so much for being with me tonight. If I'm able to hop on live next week, I will try my best. But like I said, we will be on a cruise next week, so I have no idea what our Wi-Fi situation will be like in the middle of the ocean. But I wish you all an wonderful, wonderful evening. If you guys, I know ladies here on the Zoom, you all are in Maryland, so I hope I'll get a chance to see you all on one of our field trips soon. That would be fun. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited about it. We're going to be going for my best friend's birthday. And yeah, she's been in the United States. She just got her green card. She's been in the US for over 20 years waiting for her green card. And so this will be the first time that we get to leave the US together. And I'm really, really excited about it. So yeah. This cruise, we're going to be traveling with Norwegian. We're going to be going with Norwegian Cruise Line. The last cruise that I went on was with Royal Caribbean. I don't know, which cruise line is your favorite? I don't know yet which one I like the best. They both were really, really great. So I'm excited to do Norwegian again. Oh, you've never been with Norwegian? Yeah, you've got to. You've got to. I really, really like them. Norwegian was my first cruise, and so I think I feel like it holds a special place in my heart because it was my first. Um, but yeah, the Royal Caribbean cruise that we did also was really remarkable. I mean, the ship is just, I mean, it's beautiful. It's like a city on the water. It's incredible. So yeah, I've gone with Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival. Oh, cool. I haven't gone with Celebrity or Carnival. I heard that Carnival is like the bottom of the barrel. I don't know if that's true. Which one was your favorite? I've been thinking about doing a Disney cruise. I was looking into it, but man, I'm like, for one Disney cruise, I could do 3 Royal Caribbeans, and I don't know if it's worth it. And I'm getting nervous too because my kid, my daughter's 10 and my son is 6, so they're kind of like aging out of Disney. I don't know. Maybe it will have to be something I do with the grandkids. Um, RC was your favorite still? I really want to do their new one. I think it's the Icon of the Seas. Is their new one. But actually, so funny story. I am actually was just talking with another like unschooling influencer, and we're talking about doing like an unschooling conference on a cruise next year. So yeah, after this, I think we'll see if we like Royal Caribbean or if we want to try to do it with Norwegian. But I don't know. It will be fun. I'm really excited. I think it'll be great to like go on a cruise with other unschoolers and like go experience the world with them. And then also have a chance to kind of do sessions together where we can do like workshops and things like that while we're on the boat. Oh my gosh, Amanda, you would love it. You would love it. Like yeah. So a cruise is on my list. I want to do a cruise, and then the other thing that I want to do I'm working to plan is when I was 12, I did a mission trip with my church. We went to Guatemala and we volunteered at an orphanage there. And I've actually been in touch with that orphanage. I've been like volunteering in orphanages in Guatemala since I was 12 every year. And since my daughter was born, I have not been back. So this is like the longest that I have not been in Guatemala is 10 years because my daughter was born and I just did not feel comfortable traveling to a third world country as a single woman with her. Um, but that's on my list of things to do. I think like now that my daughter's 10, she's a little bit older. I really, really, really want to take her to Guatemala because that trip was like one of the most life transforming experiences I think I ever had, being able to go and experience what the real world is like for so many people that are living in extreme poverty. So really different than a cruise. My two bucket list items are like, I want to go on a luxury cruise, and then number two, I want to go to take you all to a third world country. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. So that's on my list of things to do. Not maybe not 2025. I think probably 2026, but I'm excited about it. All right. And for those of you here on TikTok, thank you all for hanging out with me. I am gonna shut down for tonight. But thank you guys for being here and hanging out. I will try my best to see you all next week. But if I don't see you next week, then make sure that you sign up so that you can join us for next month, the last weekend, the last Wednesday in November. And I will see you guys then. All right, bye. Oh, did I check in about Great Wolf Lodge? So that is the first week of December. And you can probably, if you ask in the group, there was like a code that was going around and a bunch of people signed up for it. And the code, it was super cheap, and it was like a suite that fit 13 people in it. So there's a lot of extra space. But yeah, I think if you ask in the group about the Great Wolf Lodge trip, I don't know if there's still like spaces available if you're still able to go. But I would definitely look into that one. Try to see if you can look it up in the group. Is it the same discount as the GWL codes? If you look in the Facebook group, there was like a code that you had to give them in order to get this discount. It was like a homeschool discount thing, but like all of the Peaceful World Schoolers, we all just kind of like made reservations on our own using the same code, and it's for the first week of December. I don't know if the code is still valid, but you can always call and ask and see. And I can't remember what the code is off the top of my head. So if you search for Great Wolf Lodge in the Facebook group, Peaceful World Schoolers of the DMV, you should be able to see like all the conversations, all the messages and the posts about the Great Wolf Lodge homeschool discount day thing. So hope you guys can make it. I think we're going to be there on December 5th, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I think it's like the first Friday in December. So yeah, you're welcome. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.